All right, Bang Bang. Today is Tuesday, October 1st, Chicago Dog Walk. Guest of the day is Chief. Chief, how we doing?
Not great. I'm sweaty. It's muggy. I'm sweating through my shirt. It's only 10 a.m.
You don't like this. You think as soon as the calendar flips to October, it should be a little, colder.
I want to see my breath. I want to make a nice warm coffee. I want to sprinkle some nutmeg and cinnamon in the grounds and really get that warmth of the season as I walk to work.
Does the fact that we had no June mean anything to you?
It's so long ago that happened to somebody else. So I don't know what's going on with the planet, and the months seem to be shifting, but I see October. I think football. I think the leaves turning. I want to have a little chill in the air, and I want to bundle up and cover up my body. That's what the fall is all about, and we can't do it.
Well, not to me. I want my fucking June back, okay? June 2019 will forever be in my head as something that we got screwed on.
It's a bad June.
It was dog shit. It rained how many days of that month? Bullshit. But anyways, it is fall, though. It is football season. We are going to be out at Buffalo Wild Wings on Sunday for the game. Come watch it. It's at 513 West Taylor Street in Chicago. What do you think? You're going to be there, right?
Yeah, I can't wait. So football, chicken wings goes together. The deals they're running on Miller Lite and Coors Light that day are going to be fantastic. So we're going to have a great time. The London game, it should be a nice win, nice party. Come on out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so this is brought to you by Miller Lite. In 1975, Miller Lite brewed the first light beer that didn't compromise on taste, and they've been doing it ever since. Miller Lite is the original light beer as well. They are brewed to have more taste with only 96 calories. So yeah, come on out. Come to Buffalo Wild Wings. We'll be there hanging out there with Miller Lite, having a few cold ones. And let's just watch the game.
Yeah, the whole crew is going to be there. Come on out.
All right, Chief. So today we are talking about a topic. When you sent me, I know I always give a precursor to this, but the topic is called the Georgia Guidestones.
Yeah.
Needless to say, last week coming off of Mattress Firm, this didn't exactly knock me out of my chair.
A little different direction. So I actually have a spreadsheet that I kind of keep track of the topics, and I know that makes you think what, you're walking on a hike, looking for different benchmarks. I understand it's a boring topic, or a boring title of a topic, rather. I'm fascinated. So I grew up on Indiana Jones, History Channel, and then I was a big Da Vinci Code guy too. And this kind of fits into that. What's going on? It's maybe a little post-apocalyptic message. It's a mystery that no one really still has the answer to. So, and maybe it's something that not a lot of people know even exists. Did you know it exists?
No, I had no idea. So essentially, what I looked up to, and if you look this up as well after the show, it was definitely more interesting than I thought it would be. I was pretty locked in, with the videos I watched and with just the articles I read, but. It's essentially a American Stonehenge, but it's a disclaimer. They did it when they had actual machinery.
Power tools.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
That could make this happen.
Right. So that's what it looks like, though. Is these giant slabs? There's 6 of them, and they kind of form almost a cross, if you will. And there's a capstone on top, and they're giant. They're all together weighs a quarter of a million pounds, so 274,000 pounds, and they're 19 feet tall. They're in the middle of nowhere, Georgia. They're not really that close to Atlanta or Athens. It's just in the middle of some guy's farm, and they kind of popped up out of nowhere in 1979-80. So it's like you said, relatively new Stonehenge-looking monument, middle of nowhere, Georgia. Town of I think it's only 4,500 people live there.
Yeah, and I think that has a big granite background. Is that right? The town that it's from?
The town does, yeah. So that's there's 4,500 people there. I think probably 4,000 of those 4,500 work in granite. That's what it sounds like to me. That's all they do down there is they mine granite, or I don't even know if you mine granite, you quarry granite, and then make shit out of it, war monuments, and then someone ordered this thing and plopped it right there.
Okay, so then the story of how it came to be is kind of interesting because it's just basically one guy and a group of people who are very, anonymous.
Very anonymous.
Built this.
Using a fake name. So there is, like we said, that granite is the granite capital of the South is this place in Georgia. And so this guy just kind of showed up and put in an order for this giant fucking monument, being I want these specific things. He dropped off something, a model of it that was built to scale, so there's no room for error. They were very precise of where they wanted. There's different notches, so it's astrologically aligned with the sun and shit. One side is supposed to face the North Star. It's a very intricately designed structure that they left no room for error for these granite people down to mess up down in Georgia. So, but like you said, it was just one guy, and it came out after the fact that guy has like kind of disappeared. Like no one knows really who he was. No one ever saw him again, and he used a fake name.
He used a fake name, and he purchased like a little piece of farmland from someone else where he wanted this specific spot, like you said, with the sundial. It was definitely, he planned it out. Like he X marks the spot where he wanted this thing to go.
Yeah, so it was 5 acres off of this farmer's land. And basically, the guy was like, sure, you can have those 5 acres as long as my cows can still graze there. And he's like, sure, your cows can graze there till the end of time, but I want to own those 5 acres.
And then a couple things as well is this structure, and when you go Google it or whatever, you'll see how big it is and how it's a shit ton of granite. The place when they originally came in, they quoted him like double the rate or something. Like they quoted him something astronomically because they thought, oh, this guy's just crazy, he's not going to come back in, and he just like took the quote right away.
Yeah, that didn't matter because I think this is the type of people, maybe the type of organization that they don't really have a budget. They got money behind them, and it doesn't matter that it's like, what's the purpose of this thing? Nobody knows, but they just built this structure and paid through the nose for it to get what they wanted.
Yeah, and then guess what? I know some people are like, oh, well, that's what this is like a religion cult type deal. Those things just want to make money. No, he didn't. He didn't want any money.
The opposite.
Yes, he didn't want to make any money off of it because he gave the land right back to the county, and he demanded that one thing when he sold it back to the county, or he didn't even sell it, like he just gave it back to them, was that there was never like a gift shop or anything by this thing.
No one's to profit off of this thing. So no T-shirts, no, like you said, no roadside gift shop, no like Area 51 type of, you see all the alien merchandise out there in Roswell. None of that is allowed per the order of this guy.
Yeah. So now that we've explained like the history behind it and who he was and why it's weird in the first place, what the hell was on this thing, Chief?
Okay, so this is where it gets weird, and he listed out on the different there's on these different tablets, these monoliths. They have a written instructions, 10 commandments of who knows who that get like bizarre to the point that we always hear about these Civil War monuments coming down because they're offensive. Like that's like a new thing. You can't honor the Confederacy, which makes some sense. But the things that are written on here, some of them you're like, oh shit, dude, like that's highly offensive. We should probably take that down.
Yeah.
And like just creepy and weird, but it's still there. So we'll kind of go maybe in reverse order. So the first one is, be not a cancer to the earth. Hey, pretty good. Don't fuck up the earth. Maybe get all the plastic out of the ocean. I don't know, but don't mess with the earth. Second one, prides truth, beauty, love, seeking, and harmony with the infinite. Okay, I don't really understand what that means, but nothing too offensive. Everything kind of goes along like that, and then it starts getting a little bit weird. They say, unite humanity under a new language. So everybody's supposed to just speak one language. It's like the reverse Tower of Babel. So where they had, everybody, that's like the old biblical story where everyone spoke one language. They're building a tower up to heaven, and it came down, and now people speak Spanish and English and German and everything else. So they're saying like throw out all the different languages, come up with just one language for all of humanity. Weird.
Is that weird?
I think that's a little bit weird.
But listen, if humanity restarted altogether, like, wouldn't it be more convenient if we all understood what everyone was saying?
I mean, I suppose, but it's still like to have that as it's a good idea. Let's say
I'm not saying it should be English. I don't know what it should be.
No one's saying that, but it might be practical.
Yeah,
it's still like a weird idea to throw out the way that billions of people have spoken for. Sure. Millions of years or thousands of years.
Good point.
To just throw it out and be like, no, you guys invent a new language from scratch.
Good point.
Okay, a little bit odd. Then says guide reproduction wisely to improve fitness and diversity. Not good for us, guys like us, Ed. Okay, we're in trouble, and this is where it kind of gets offensive. There's that term that like highly racist people throw out there called like eugenics, where it's like you're selecting based on like who gets to procreate and who gets to like send their offspring into the future, their genetics into the future. Like this is saying like a government type thing would be careful of who gets to procreate.
Read that again one more time.
guide reproduction wisely to improve fitness and diversity.
See, I'm a dummy. Like, I originally read that and I thought, like, oh, diversity. Like, they were promoting diversity.
Yeah, they're probably promoting diversity. Okay,
Yeah.
like, but you don't. If you want to have children someday, Ed, or I want to have children, there might be some governing body who's like, no, dude, you're like too ugly and stupid, and you're like, you don't get to procreate.
Okay.
LeBron James, have as many kids as you want. Guys like you and me, maybe Bill Gates gets to have kids. Not us.
Okay.
So,
See, I originally read like that as like a kind goodness statement.
No.
Okay.
Oh no, that's
I'm an
like,
idiot.
Yeah, that's like, hey, like you should not be like, we're going to decide who can procreate and who
Okay.
can't.
Not great.
Not great. Not a great look. Then the number one rule that they had on these guidestones was keep a population under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. So right now there's a little over 7 billion people on the planet. That means you got to just, I don't know, euthanize 90% of the world's population to make this true. That's, a little genocidal, if you ask me. That's kind of a weird one. So to spend all the money, and then not only that, like we talked about languages, coming up with a universal language is one of the principles. This is written in 8 different languages on this monument. So it's written in English, it's written in Russian, Chinese, Arabic, Hebrew, Hindi, Swahili, Egyptian fucking hieroglyphs, classical Greek, Spanish, and like an old Babylonian language. So this guy felt, or these people felt, it was so important, these rules, to write it in stone on massive stones. So anyone who ever found it could read it, theoretically. Bizarre.
Yeah. So he was ready for any type of person to come across this at some point or something like that, or what?
I guess. Like I don't know what the plan is or what the plan was. Or there's supposedly a time capsule there as well, and it's just like and that's where like the story almost kind of stops, right? Like we have like the background of it. We tell you all these weird fucking commandments that are written in every possible language that you could think of, or the 8 most prevalent languages at least. And then you're like, okay, well, like what?
Yeah.
Like what next? Like who did this? Why is it there? And nobody has any like concrete answers.
And the thought of just Egyptian hieroglyphics in like a random town in Georgia is actually hilarious.
Right. It's not like he popped it up in the Washington Mall or, in a major city. It was like, and they didn't advertise it. It was just like it just popped up one day. Like local townspeople saw its unveiling because they saw like the construction going on. They knew it was being made. It was like 100 people. Yeah. So if you have a message theoretically to the world, but you don't advertise it at all, and it's just the local yokels of Elkerton, Georgia, or Elberton, Georgia. It's like, what is going on here? Like, what is this thing's purpose?
Is there any type of conspiracy that people kind of drummed up around this thing?
Yeah, of course. Okay. So, like we said, like this has been kind of a hot topic as it's kind of gained in notoriety. This thing, because it talks about the population control and the quote unquote eugenics. That it was defaced in 2008 by people saying that this was something with the message on there, death to the New World Order. So the New World Order, I think we've talked about it a few times on the show through like the Denver airport, but it's basically like people like the Rockefellers and these like great, families from the last turn of the century who are supposedly a secret society that are really controlling the whole planet. Mm-hmm. So controlling all the governments, doing all that. So they have they've spoken some similar themes, and they quote also on this guidestone, let these be guidestones to an age of reason, which was a quote from a famous Freemason from the 18th century. So it's like, okay, you're using these things, it's in stone, another like Freemason principles, and it's all astrologically designed. People are saying that this is like just put there by Freemasons or like we're saying, like the New World Order type people, but it's just like it's still just a mystery.
Yeah. So people think that it's this mysterious group. The same. Wow. So we're getting some links here between the Denver airport and that whole type of group.
There's and some similar traits between the two things. Some of the plaques are similar.
Ooh.
As the one they had that airport plaque we talked about before. There's some kind of clues there, not clues necessarily, but similarities that you could try to say like, hey, like maybe these are somewhat linked.
And I feel like we glossed over really quickly on the time capsule.
Yeah.
That's one of the weirdest parts about it is there's something that says that there's a time capsule on it, but there's no date on when to open it.
Right.
And when they ask the farmer whose farm it is, who sold the land, who's still over there, who still kind of answers questions about it, at least he was in the video that I saw.
Yep.
He was like very, I don't know. There might be.
Yeah.
Like the time capsule's weird.
The time capsule's weird. There's all kinds of there's like crazy people who think all kinds of things. Like the Holy Grail is buried there.
Wow.
The secrets of the Freemasons are buried there. Why this place in Georgia? I don't know. I saw one person speculate because it's far enough from the Yellowstone theoretical blast zone. So when that super volcano blows up in Yellowstone, like this part of Georgia might be like a place that is safe, that it's just gonna like redo like the whole planet. There's places that it's far enough from major cities in case there's a nuclear war that it would be a safe area. So it's supposed to be like a guide stone for a post-apocalyptic event, allegedly. Wasn't
there like an alien theory too?
There's an alien theory where not that the aliens were involved in construction, and then that's like it's like a signal to aliens. So should they land there? There's also, if you look through like a certain hole that's carved out there, you get like a boom of energy like right through your core. Like people are saying there's all kinds of like kind of supernatural phenomena. Like you take photos from certain angles, you get like a blue hue around it that you just can't get rid of it. So it's a bizarre, supernatural kind of mysterious place that nobody has any answers to. And then even like that guy's fake name, I don't believe we said it earlier. His name was Robert C. Christian, and they say that or RC Christian would be the fake name. And that goes back to the Rose and Cross, which is like a precursor to the Freemasons. So it's like, all right, like even your name kind of links to the Freemasons. Like what is really going on here? But to this day, nobody has really come up with any concrete answers.
But what do you think is the answer though? Because I have something that I think in the back of my mind.
Well, why don't you go?
Well, when was it built?
79 into 80.
And this isn't my idea. This is what from I read. Obviously, there's different conspiracies and different thoughts of it when it was built. 79, 80, what was going on around then?
It was Cold War.
Cold War. So to me, that makes the most sense. That they thought something big was going to happen with the Cold War, and it was kind of reaching out to the people who ever made it out of it. I don't know.
Yeah, so if you're stumbling along after like Washington, D.C., New York, Atlanta, all these places blow up,
yes,
then you find this thing like, hey, I guess we'll follow these this is the new 10 Commandments written in stone tablets.
I mean, I don't know. That's the only thing I could think of.
I don't know. I feel like it's got to be something more.
You think so?
Why go through all the trouble and the big bill, all of that? I feel like there's like at a date to be determined when we open up that. Let's go down and dig up that time capsule.
Let's go.
Can we get Eric on the phone to approve that? Let's just go start digging, see what happens.
Let's dig. Let's do a show out from the front of there. Let's see how fast it takes us to get kicked off. I'm down.
Okay.
It's interesting to say the least.
It's one of those things. It's like I wish there was an Indiana Jones movie about this place because there's more there.
Yeah. Well, all right, Chief. Thank you for coming on today and introducing us to the Georgia Guidestones.
Anytime.
All right. That's it for today, everybody. We will catch you next time.